We've been talking a lot about Mother's Day, but for some, it's a time to think about becoming one. Not talking about pregnancy on Great Day St. Louis, we're talking about adoption. Andy Crouppen and Ed Herman of Brown & Crouppen join us to talk about adoption. Of course, I suppose there has to be a pregnancy involved at some point before the adoption.
Yes.
But thank you, gentlemen, for coming on to talk to us about this. I have to fess up and admit this. I was not aware that Ed just recently adopted a little girl until I started preparing for this interview.
Well, that's why we wanted to talk about adoption today. It was good timing with Mother's Day, and yeah, we were blessed enough. We just got her. She's 11 days old.
I'll hold
today.
up the picture here. So, I mean, she is. How long has she been in your home now?
Well, she's 11 days old, and we got her from the day she was born.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that's also my son, Brody, looking at his new little sister, Caroline.
Right. Your biological son here.
My biological son
with
and my
the newly
adopted
adopted
daughter.
baby girl. And this is something that's not foreign to your family either, is it, Andy?
No, it's not. I have a younger sister who was adopted when she was 5 days old. She has since run off to China and may come back one day, but
Really?
yeah, she's spending a year there teaching English.
Oh, that's exciting.
But it's interesting with adoption is until you have it in your family, people don't talk about it because it's such a non-issue, you know, until, of course, you know, when your father embarrasses you and you start telling people, I start telling people I was adopted too. But no, it's such a non-issue that it never comes up. And like you say, you had no idea.
Exactly.
Because it just is.
Well, and in my opinion, that transparency means that that child's been put in a good home. Yeah, and that's the idea behind the entire system. We hear so many horror stories about how long, how incredibly intense, how difficult this process is. We complain about it a lot, but Ed, before the show, you said, you know what, we've got to have these steps in place to make sure that these kids are getting a good home.
It's true, you know, and I mean, believe me, I just went through all this.
Oh, yeah.
It's taken me a couple of years with the home studies, and you do get frustrated thinking, geez, there's, you know, people out there getting pregnant all the time that don't have to be put through any of this. But you have to believe a woman who's going to give her child up for adoption, she needs to have the confidence to know that anybody who's going to be raising her child has met a very high standard, that their background has been looked into thoroughly so that they have confidence in the process. Otherwise, I don't think people would be as willing to really give this amazing gift.
I can certainly believe that. We have a couple of lawyers on the show. Maybe we should talk about the legal aspect
Sure.
of this. Sure. At what point in time, and I'm sure it can't come soon enough for most potential parents that are in this procedure, at what time does the child literally become 100%, for lack of a better word, yours?
Well, every adoption has a finalization point where your rights are the same as anybody who had their child naturally. And every state is different. You know, for mine coming through Kansas, there will be a finalization at the end of the month of May. It's very quick. That's why I chose the state of Kansas. So one of the things you want to do is sort of figure out what state has the most favorable adoption laws for adoptive parents, and then see if you can work through that state.
That was going to be my next question, was what advice do you have for people who are either in the midst of this process and extremely frustrated, or people who are considering this down the road?
Well, I think the best thing people can do is keep an open mind as to what kind of child you're willing to bring into your world. There is international adoption. You can go domestic. You can get a newborn. You can get a child who maybe is a little bit older. And I think the more open-minded you are about what you're willing to take in, the quicker the whole process is going to go for you.
It really is just a wonderful thing. You know, it's, you know, when I think about the joy that my younger sister has brought into our family.
Who's an adopted member of your family.
15 years younger than me. So in many ways, I was at an age where, you know, she's a sister, but in some ways, me and my other siblings almost played parent as well.
Sure.
You know, one thing I wanted to mention is a lot of times people have this image of lawyers in courtrooms or in adversarial situations. You know, the last thing you want to do is have to call your lawyer. but adoption law is such an enormous area of the law. So many people are practicing it. And you forget that these people have dedicated their lives to completing people's families. And it's just a really wonderful, noble area of our practice. It's something that we don't do. I wish we did, but it's not something we do.
We're out of time, unfortunately, guys.
Let me just say happy Mother's Day before I'm done. It's Mother's Day week. To my mother, who I know watches every day, and to my wife, most importantly, and to my mother-in-law. Happy Mother's Day,
Mom.
Ed, Andy, they're good, aren't they, Carol?